Okay. This is Dr. Sylvia Kratzer, and I'm so delighted to introduce one of my most wonderful, amazing friends who I actually met in Mexico.
Yes.
Um, and we met through very kind of unforeseen circumstances. And unforeseen is perhaps the keyword to Sesin, because she certainly did things in her life very few have dared to undertake. And she's a wonderful inspiration in the series of women leaders inspiring transformation. So it's my great pleasure to introduce Sesin Karakurt. Am I pronouncing the last name right, Karakurt?
Very well, very well.
Who hails from the beautiful city of Istanbul, where she was an oil executive, if I understand that right. And
Yes.
tell us a little bit about you, Sesin, and where you came from and what transformation you made in your life.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for giving me this chance, and hopefully, we can touch somebody's lives, and I would be so happy. And yeah, coming to myself, I was born in eastern part of Turkey, actually, in 1971. And we were there until I was 13, and later we moved to Istanbul, where you would get all the opportunities for your kids, for a good education, for a better future, of course. And yes, I carried on my study in Istanbul. And then when I finished university, I'm a chemist. I'm a chemist.
Ah, okay. Mhm.
Yes, and I worked for a couple of years for a medicine company in Turkey, and then I noticed that yes, I need to learn how to speak English perfectly, and so that's why I decided to go to England to learn the language. But of course, it wasn't that easy in my time to convince your family to go to another country, which is actually a bit far away. But yeah, once you believe in something and you see that it is going to make a big change in your life, then yes, you got to hold on it.
I didn't know that part of your journey. So you were in Istanbul, certainly a very metropolitan life, but Turkish families don't necessarily let their daughters, go by themselves, especially, when you were a very young girl. And
Yeah,
how old were you when you went to England?
I was 26. Actually, I wasn't really young, but in my generation,
Mm.
parents were little bit, yes, like protective, and
Right.
especially when you want to go to another country to live.
Yes.
That makes all mothers, especially mothers, actually got a beard a little bit, feel bad because they don't want to leave you, and they don't know the place that you are going to put people. They have no idea. So yes, they are concerned.
And
But
you were
anyway,
the eldest amongst your siblings. I believe you were the firstborn, the eldest.
no, I have a brother who is 2 years older than me and a sister, but 7 years younger than me. So yes, I opened the way for my sister, but my brother, since he's a man, let's say, life was of course different for him to choose his future, his life. And yes, as I said, for me, it was little bit still tie on family's parents.
Mhm.
But anyway, at the end, yes, as I said, once you believe, there's nothing that you cannot do. So yes, I convinced them, and I went to England. And actually, in the first year, uh, my mom and my sister came to visit me, and then my mom was saying that you have done the best for your life. So
Where
yeah.
in England did you live at that time? In which
Yes, I went to England. I went to England to learn the language in a college,
oh,
Brooklands College, and it took me like 9 months. The course was for like 10 months or something, but then I got a job in BP as a chemist. So that's why I started working for BP. And after a year, which was in total 2 years that I was in England, I noticed that I don't want to work as a chemist. I don't want to be chemist anymore, because you are in the laboratory covering yourself like, like now some people do because of COVID. So covering yourself and all the time, with those chemicals in the same environment, I said, okay, no, that's not what I want. I always wanted to be with people. I loved being with people. And especially during my university degree, while I was studying, I was working as a journalist in a local newspaper. And then I noticed that, yes, I love being with people. I love listening their stories. I love talking to them, meeting new people. So that's why I went back to Turkey and to change my career. So that year, which was 98, in 1 year, Sylvia, maybe I changed, I'm sure, more than 10 jobs, but maybe like 20.
Wow.
Yes, because I was looking for exactly the job that would match with my personality and gives me the life that I want to live. So yes, at the end, actually by a chance, I got into oil business. And I started working in the area which I loved, which I really loved. And because I was traveling all over the world, and I was in contact, I was making business with petrochemical companies from different countries. And that gave me the chance actually to know all those cultures, all those beautiful countries, and of course business life from its core, because it's a big industry. It's very, very tough, could be tough sometimes.
I'm sure.
Yes. So but
to
I love
recap
it.
up to this point, if I was to, as an outsider, look in, there's a lady who knows what she wants on the inside and refuses to compromise. During the 20 jobs, you could have just said, okay, or doubt herself, because how can I change jobs so many times? Something's wrong with me. But you knew what you wanted and you refused to compromise in many ways. And that.
Exactly. Very true. Very true.
And
Yes.
probably a vision of, a larger life vision than just the one that perhaps society or family would have, imposed on you.
Exactly. Well, my parents were not happy with me actually while I was changing job all the time. But as I
And you
said,
were
yeah,
chatting around the world, I believe you told me, with your boss, and like, basically living what a lot of people would consider living a dream life, having accomplished so much.
yes. But of course, I guess in those times, again, of course, getting a job was easier than now. This is also another, fact that we should consider. But still, no matter when, no matter what happens, again, if we want to have, we should be focusing. But at the same time, actually, we should be trying to see the best ways that goes to our goal.
Yes.
This is what we have to do it correctly in those periods. So
when I first came to Los Angeles, I had a mentor, a very old Jewish lady, and she always told me, and I couldn't understand how she would say that. She always said, don't focus on the problem, focus on the solution, or don't live in the problem, live in the solution. And I said, but I have that problem, and but ultimately it's that you have the vision and you can focus on the problems, on the obstacles, then you get stuck there, or you can focus on the vision and the ways will open for you.
Exactly, very true. Once we have any problem, we all have. That's for everybody. First, I guess we should accept that. But then, yes, once we have a problem, immediately maybe we should be thinking like, okay, what am I going to do? How can I solve this? That's the best way actually to channelize our brain and our path. Very true, very true. And so yes, and I loved it. I loved my job. I love working in oil industry, and I earned so many good friends other than just being business partners, making business all over the world, which was another good side of my business. Yes, I was working really hard. There were so many days every week that I was working 20 hours a day because of time differences. Exactly. Because I was working, for example, China, Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, and on the other side, Middle East as well, Europe already, and then Latin countries or America or Canada. So because of the time differences, I had to kind of be awake all the time to be able to get in contact and make business with all those countries. And even sometimes I was sleeping in the office.
Did you have to compromise your personal life? I mean, on the one hand, you had a great social life because you made friends all over the world, but did you feel that you had to maybe that your personal life was a little suffering, or was that not an issue?
Definitely, yes. I remember years and years, my friends, even my family members, they were calling me and I wasn't able to answer, either sending them a short message or just answering for a couple of seconds saying, I'll turn back to you. And after like 2 days, 3 days, I was remembering that I got a phone call. So certainly after a couple of years, I kind of left all my friends at back, but my job was keeping me so busy, and of course the most important thing, it was making me so happy. Yeah.
Can I
And
say one other thing? I just remembered, because you're so gorgeous and I've seen pictures of you modeling. So was that at the same time or prior you were actually modeling as well, being a model? Just beautiful. But at what time were you modeling?
well, that was like between 2009 and 10 for a year and a half for a photographer group, and those were the years that our industry were getting a little bit slowed down, maybe just taking a break from really high temperature days. And one of my friend was a photographer, and she asked me if I could help them by modeling, because they were making photo shoots with a concept. And for example, one concept we did actually was Marie Antoinette, and I costumed one of those amazing costumes that we usually see in Venice for the festival, and with a beautiful mask. Yes, I did some actually of those modelings.
So you showed me, I believe, at that time in Mexico, some of those pictures, and were just stunning.
They are, yeah, exactly. Actually, they do everything for you, all the decorations and your costume. And also, I remember the other one in Kenya.
The Kenya one, oh my God, these were
which was beautiful. Yeah, it's because all those nature and everything around you, it makes the picture really perfect, really unique. And so yeah, I enjoy.
You can carry so some people might be swallowed up by the surroundings, but you have that inner glow that you carry, that your personality carries the picture. It's just stunning. This proves once again when I grew up, it was always, oh, pretty girls are dumb,
Yeah,
and,
I guess.
and the idea that you have like you beauty and brains, which is
Exactly. exactly. Yeah, that's also true. Thank you. Yeah, it was. I had really good memories during those photo shoots, and I have beautiful pictures, so I can look at them when I get old, thinking that all those years.
I just saw the rainbow picture of you on Instagram, and you look just like magical. The rainbow on the street, and you turn into the rainbow yourself. It's
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes we just, cross into such things that it's like a light in your brain gives you idea. Oh gosh, yes, I should have a picture with that, and then the picture photograph comes out really something different. Even you wouldn't think, you were not thinking. Yes, yes, it's so good. I mean, life is so good. Outside is full of nice things, good things, and when we go out, if you are looking around with love, with passion, with a smile, then you see so many beautiful things.
oh, I need to hear that sometimes, especially in these times. That's so important. And also, I believe we connected also in terms of we connected right away. But also, one thing that I found interesting: you're a person who believes in, has a strong faith in the Creator God, right? So, and that
Yeah.
seems to come out in your joy of life. I find that, you embrace life and the beauty of life, and perhaps that's connected to your strong faith.
Most probably. Well, thank you very much reminding me this, Sylvia. Yes, actually, since I was a kid, maybe like, 4 or 5 years old, I don't know I don't remember how it started, but yes, I felt very strong connection with God. I took him like my best friend.
Right.
And I wasn't afraid, or I wasn't, not trying stay away from those thoughts. No, on the contrary, actually, I felt like he was my best friend. And I was talking to God every night when I go to my bed. I remember I was covering my head, not letting anybody hears me, I guess. And then I was talking to him, telling him my days, and then telling him what I want to be. And I remember that I was telling him about my future, which actually I had it later because I love traveling. My mother was also saying, I remember those years as well, but my mother was also saying years before that I started remembering that I was having atlas map map of the world just next to my bed and looking at the map every night before I go to sleep.
Wow.
And I remember at the age of 5, 6, that yes, I was wondering, seeing all those countries on the map. How is it this country? What is it there? What is this? What is that? I remember this. And I guess that actually pushed me to have a business, to get a job that I could travel as well.
Mm.
And yes, and also I did my first traveling actually when I was 5 years old, in eastern part of Turkey. A family member, a relative, actually took me to the border which is with Armenia, and there's a beautiful historical area over there. And that was my first trip, with a full of tourists in the bus. And yeah, that was the first trip I had. And then yes, working in oil industry, coming back again for 19 years. My sister was living in Mexico, here in Playa del Carmen actually, and I came to visit her in 2012 in the summer, the beginning of the summer. And that was the time that I was gonna have some months off between two jobs. So I resigned, and then I was having a couple of months off, and then I was gonna start working again. So that gave me chance to stay here 2 months and a half. And Sylvia, in those 2 months and a half time, I noticed that life is full of beautiful things. Life is full of joy, full of amazing things that will make me happy as I am in business while I'm working. So then I started looking back to my life. Yes, I have been so happy. I wasn't regretting at all. I've been so successful, and of course, this gives you energy. This gives you everything that you need. But then, yes, I said life is full of stuff. So I gotta experience them. I gotta do that. And in the meantime, as I said, yeah, I was traveling a lot, either for job or for myself. Then I said, yes, traveling is beautiful, but you go a place and you stay there 1 week, maximum 10 days, especially if you are working not more than 1 week. But you want to still stay there. You liked it there and you want to still experience, you want to still travel a bit more, but you can't because you are working. You have to go back. So I said, okay, I'll go back to Turkey because I promised that company that I'm gonna work for them, and also I have to get ready my stuff, everything, to leave country, to leave my country, to live in other countries that I want to see. So I went back, and it took me actually a bit more than I thought. So it's like 2 years later, I turned back to Mexico. I said, okay, since I've been there and I know a little bit of it, and so I'll start with Mexico. And so I came here, and I was planning to stay like a year. Also, I was thinking that I would be bored without working after a while, but not at all. Not at all, actually. Each day, each month I spent without working, but getting into life more and more every day. I'm saying I started holding hands with life.
Ah, what a nice expression. Is it a Turkish expression or is this your
Oh,
expression?
no, actually, that's how I felt. That's because I was feeling that, yes, now I am very close to life, living it. So I said, okay, now we are flirting because I was so happy.
Love is that.
Now we are flirting, we are holding hands, and it is taking me away. It is, giving me all the good things. I stayed 4 years and a half here. It was a lot longer than I thought. I went to Turkey a couple of times, but each time I was coming back really with a big miss in my heart. And I traveled in Mexico a lot. I have seen most of the parts that I wanted to see. And then even during that 4 years and a half, I went to Argentina, I went to Brazil, and I stayed in each country. I stayed around a month, and then in 2019, I wanted to move to my second stop, which was Colombia.
Yeah.
And I went to Colombia, and I lived in Cartagena, but then I traveled in the cities to the places that I wanted to see. And Colombia took me 1 year and a half. And then I went back to Turkey after COVID came out. So I went back to Turkey for a couple of months to have my wonderful food, to see a little bit of my country and see my family, friends, everybody. And then, as you know, COVID changed our plans. I was supposed to be in Peru last year, but we couldn't fly. Yeah. And this year I am hoping to fly to Peru in March. If not, then who knows? We'll see when it happens. But Peru is...
Planning to stay in Peru for a longer period or just a visit and then?
I am planning to stay there because there are so many places also in Peru that I want to see. It's a big country. It's a beautiful country.
There's a very unique flair to itself. Peru the fashion, the style, the atmosphere. I've never been there, but just from what I've seen, it has its very unique atmosphere.
That's how I also feel. That's why I'm thinking to move there instead of spending a couple of months, but to move there actually. And hopefully I'll get the chance from the virus. And because yes, it's a beautiful country, the culture, and it has also, like Mexico, different cultures, different type of people, let's say, food, mental, exactly.
Some people would probably question two things: A, the language, Spanish, and I know you speak Spanish perfectly, but how did you acquire that? And finances. Yes, you're an oil executive, but I believe you're also still doing work as a digital nomad. You are a little bit online work, as far as I know. So you are not like in, now that there's COVID, now, it's not like you put yourself in danger. You have a basis, it seems to me that you
Yes.
planned ahead. You didn't just foolhardily drop your job and, backpack through the Amazons or something like that. You did have a plan.
Yes, actually, yes. I'm a person who has to do everything in the most possible correct way, let's say. And I have to see at least little bit of my future, that yes, it is under guarantee. Nothing's gonna be happening, unexpectedly. Yes, while I was working actually so hard and sleeping in the office, so of course you earn also enough money. And I saved my money. I knew I was gonna have a different type of life, so that's why I tried to save my money as much as I can. And I did some investments in Turkey, and I'm so glad that I did, actually. So yes, once I quit my job, decided to have a nomad life, then yes, you have the freedom of choosing when to work, how much working, and when not to work, just enjoy the life. Yes, I do some trades online in my business still, because I still have my contacts. I still know people in petrochemical companies. They are still there, most of them. So yeah, I still buy some chemicals, and then in Turkey also I know the companies, and I sell them. I do that sometimes, but mainly actually I'm kind of like retired, having a retired life. And so yeah, and also, as you know, Sylvia, in some countries you live cheaper than in your own country.
Yeah.
That's an advantage. That's another advantage.
But so you had a financial head on your shoulders. You kind
Yeah.
of, yeah. And language, how did it happen that you speak so amazingly well Spanish? Because when you first visited your sister, I believe, did you speak Spanish yet? No.
Not at all. I even didn't know that Ola was Spanish. So, and yeah, when I came here to live, the first year I was studying, by myself, with some online help, because there are really good online studies, lessons, classes. So you get everything you are looking for. So I did really hard, and I was trying to talk to local people with my poor Spanish. But once you tell them actually that you are practicing and you want to learn the language, they are really, really helpful.
No.
They are correcting you. They are telling you how to say it, what is the common way to say it. And yes, once you start talking with locals, actually, you cannot believe how the language improves so quickly. You remember everything actually whenever you need to, that you heard from people. sometimes you forget what you read, but you definitely remember what you hear from people. The sound of the person, voice of the person, the face expression, everything gives you a clue to remind whatever that person taught you.
Right.
So yes, thankfully that I can speak Spanish.
And you are such a people person. You're just someone who easily connects with people, I believe. You know, people can relate to you. They feel really wonderful in your presence, in your company, and you have a way of making people feel at ease. This is a natural ability of yours.
Thank
That's
you very
very.
much. I love people, yes. As I said, when I was working as a chemist, then I realized that no, that keeps me away from people, everybody. I'm very isolated. So yes, Sylvia, I love people. I love meeting people, old people, young people, kids, whoever. I love meeting them. I love talking to them because everybody has a story.
Right.
And sometimes you hear something that really shocks you or really makes you so happy. You wouldn't imagine from a person that you never met, you don't know, and you're just talking, but it makes you so happy because it gives you some idea or whatever you are hearing. So that's why, yes, I guess loving people, loving talking to them, it gives the energy, the good energy to them, so makes them trust in you and open their world, to you.
Yes.
So they start talking, and
You
this
exude that.
this is the best part. This is the best part, actually.
And that would
But
also answer the question I typically ask, what inspires you nowadays? But you just answered it. This relating to the world, holding hands with life, and
exactly.
relating to other people, speaking to them, connecting with them.
Yes, but I should say, living in other countries, of course, sometimes you get difficult times uh, to adapt. Well, maybe not adapting, actually, because adapting is a big word. It includes so many things, but some details in different cultures makes you think, wow, really, could it be so different?
Yeah.
That means in my culture, in my country, in my people, with my people, so different. But yes, it does make, actually. First, we have to accept wherever we go, we are in another country, we are in somebody else's country. So whatever it is, that's why we came, actually, because it's different, it is something else. So that made it attractive, and that's why I came to live, or to see, to experience. So yes, sometimes some details are making me surprised that could be so different. But at the same time, actually, it is like a point makes you think that yes, this world is so dynamic. Every country has its own color, has its own way of life. Although you live the same century, you live in the same year, same month, same day, same hours, but you can be so different.
Yeah.
So different. Yeah. It is good, actually. It is good. It's a good difference. Yes. Although we struggle maybe a little bit, but later on, once you got the shock goes away, and then you start seeing the beauty of it. You start seeing the difference.
I feel that too. Even though I didn't live nearly as long in Mexico, but I noticed in Mexico, it seems like the dimension, the roots in the past are so strong. So there's more of this, the past is alive in the present. And here in California, with Silicon Valley and all that, it's more the dream of the future. And so, yes, as I was driving back from Mexico, the long trek from Yucatan to Los Angeles, California, I noticed that I was travel, as each mile went by, it was like almost traveling through time zone. But it's not like one is better than the other. It's just a different way of experiencing time, and it's very interesting, I find. And you having been in so many other countries, Brazil, Colombia for quite a while, Argentina, that I'm sure has even more dimensions to that experience.
Yes, very different than each other. Even neighboring countries, even the common language they use. But yes, cultures are so different, and people are so different than each other. In one country could be white, but in the other country it could be definitely black. It is so different. But as I said, that's the, I guess, beauty of it that attracts us and pulls us there. So I am so happy actually when I see something really different. Then I feel like, exploring it more and having that experience. Right. I feel like I'm adding another thing to my soul.
Yes. So, and you earlier said adapting, and then you almost corrected yourself. It's perhaps more of an expansion rather than adapting to this style. You just add to your experience, rather than, oh, now I become a Colombian. Instead, you just add layers to your soul or to who you are.
Yes, Julia, thank you so much. Actually, that's a lot better way of telling it. Yes, definitely. I am adding, more instead of adapting, instead of maybe, changing myself drastically. Just adding something to your culture, actually, to your personal culture, let's say.
There's so much wisdom and poise in you, Sesin. That's just so attractive, I find. In your wisdom, if you were to give someone young or old, any male or female, but basically more talking to women leaders or women, what would you say is perhaps something regret? Perhaps yes, perhaps no. What is some wisdom you could give to others? I know we've covered a lot of these points, but if we were to sum up, okay, I should have done this different or sooner, yes or no, what is advice you would give to your younger self?
Well, actually, first of all, and thankfully that I don't have any regret. Maybe I might be regretting that I didn't start doing this earlier, which I guess I could have done it a little bit earlier. But anyway, always we say that there is a reason. So I would strongly suggest to everybody who can make it, who feel that can make it, then please start. Please start, because things are not as big as we think before we reach to them.
Right.
Or they are not as difficult as we think. And especially when we are thinking about financial side, actually this is something that we maybe should be putting it in the third row on our thoughts, because as you know, there are so many even backpackers. Hello, Sylvia?
Yes, your image froze, but I can still hear you. Hello?